In a world where the unknown whispers in the dark, where shadows move and questions remain unanswered, tonight we step beyond the veil. Welcome to Journey through the EGH Talk Show, where the paranormal meets the unexplained and the truth is never far away. From ghostly encounters to UFO sightings to the mysteries that keep us awake at night. You're not just watching, you're part of the investigation. So dim the lights, open your mind, and prepare to question everything you thought you knew. This is your journey into the unknown.
Good evening, guys, and welcome to Journey Through the EGH Talk Show, live and exclusive. Wherever you're watching, you may be on Facebook, you may be on YouTube, wherever you are watching, welcome to the show. It is Thursday, the 20th of August, and now I've got to do two timestamps. Not only is it 8 o'clock this time, it is also with our guest, is around about 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Welcome everybody to the show, and this week I'm going to say welcome to Simon, welcome to Mr. Paranormal Paul, and I'm going to say welcome to our guest all the way across the pond. I've always wanted to say that. I can actually say that. Welcome Chad from YouTube channel BrewFOs. Welcome Brew to the show.
Cheers.
Yes.
I've only got one of them, so cheers.
That's all I've got.
How are we, Brew?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Yeah.
We are all good, thank you. We are all good in the hood. Well, you've watched our show long enough, so I just have to do our normal introductions so everybody knows what they're talking about. I have to say, Mr. Paranormal Paul, how has your week been?
Not good. Don't want to talk about it. We'll crack on.
Oh, my. Don't tell me you're going to moan it's not been nice weather and it's been raining.
No, not at all. No, my boiler's blew up. I've got no hot water. I haven't had for a week now. I'm waiting for parts to turn up.
Well, and you can't use hose pipe. You can't go and wash in the garden because you're all on hose pipe ban over here. So,
well, they say a cold shower's healthy for you, don't they? So it doesn't look too healthy when I'm having the cold shower. But I'm like an 80s break dancer, you know what I mean?
Well, you have to do the old style, don't you? You have to warm it up with candles and things like that. And
mate, I've had my daughters so they can have a bath, so I'm running hot pots off the hob up to warm in the bath.
You're mad.
These things are the testers, aren't they?
You are mad. Hello, everybody in the chat. Let us know where you are watching from. Put in your chat, what's your name, where you're coming from. The show would never stop. Paul, I'm sorry about your boiler. I can't do anything about it. I just hope you get it fixed sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Monday, apparently, the parts are coming.
Oh, well. We've got a whole weekend. And you got that's why you get yourself a hot tub.
Yeah,
Yeah, but you can't fill it up.
Well, if you filled it up before the hose pipe ban, you would have been fine.
Yeah, but you can't.
No, if he got one at the beginning of the year, it would have been absolutely fine.
He didn't know his boiler was going to go then, did he?
You know, if he was in America, he could have got the hot tub before 7 o'clock at night, and he would have been in the future. If that makes sense. Hello, everybody in the chat. Marianne is locked in. We've got Kim that's also locked in, sunning herself. She is in somewhere over the other side. Tenerife.
Maybe Lanzarote. I don't know.
One of the two. Mr. Psychic Side, can you keep your rant short this week? Because we've got loads to talk about.
Can I keep? Of course I can.
Go for it.
Right. My rant this week is our lovely new Prime Minister that we all that we're all meh, all the countries meh, we're going to follow him. Meh. In about 3 months' time, whatever. Yeah, let's vote him in for another 5 years. But no, the latest one that's really got to me is we're going to get all the homeless off the street for Christmas. My arse. Come on. Right? But so we've gone all through this. How's he going to do that? And you know what I'd say? Stop them coming across the boats. Right? Put them in the places we're going to put the illegals. Fine. But then I thought, oh, yeah. So how's he been getting on with this as he was Mayor of Manchester? Because he's been running this as Mayor of Manchester. And my rant is over now because it just went, his homelessness over Christmas just went up and up and up and up over the years. So there, I'll rest my case. So for all the sheep, don't always follow the shepherd. Run away, please.
Run. Well, let's on a positive note, okay? Let's a spin on that to play devil's advocate. It would be lovely if he could get everybody a home for Christmas.
Yes, totally agree.
That would be if he can pull it off, then I fully welcome that because no one should be homeless. No one should be homeless.
I totally agree.
But we also have to put in there that some people are happy to be homeless.
Yeah.
Because they had an interview with a homeless guy on the news earlier on. He said, I'm happy what I'm doing. I don't, just let me be. And we have to respect their wishes. We have to. But if he can turn the people around and make everybody that wants a home for Christmas in the UK, everyone should have a home for Christmas.
Totally agree.
If he can pull that off, mate, he's got my backing.
But he can't do it in Manchester.
No, I say he's got my backing if he pulls it off. Yeah. It would be a reluctantly voting that, but hey ho, that's for another show. And I'm going to actually ask Brew, how has your week been?
Good.
Okay.
Yeah, I made a game with, I don't know if you guys heard of Anthropic or Claude, that AI. So I don't know how to code or program, but you can have it program. But I made a game called BrewFO's in Claude, and now you can play the game live, and that's what I put out this week. So I'm really stoked on it. But you can play it; it's free. Play it on your computer.
And how do we go about playing it?
It's on brewfos.com. And you can't play it on your phone, though. So sorry, everybody that plays games on their phones. You have to play it on your computer. So, but it's fun. You're a little UFO, and you go around. You pick up brews, and you avoid the views. So you don't want to be seen by people. You can get caught.
Love it. I'm gonna have to give that one a go.
Yeah, I'll be playing at work tomorrow. Do you know that's what I'll be doing?
Dude, yeah. If you guys play it, let me know what you think about it. And then Monday, I had an episode come out with Megan Medic, who's a producer on News Nation out here. It's a news show, but she's a producer of the show called Reality Check with Ross Coulthart, and she has her own show called Unreported, and that was a cool conversation. I've been watching her for a little bit now, so that was cool.
Brilliant, well done, man.
Yeah, it sounds like a really good week that you're having.
It was a good week so far.
And you got hot water.
That's it. Yeah. So the first question I want to ask you, what is behind the name, Chad? Why are we called BrewFOs? What's the handle?
Yeah, so I'm in San Diego. There's a lot of good beer out here. There's a lot of good breweries. And I'm
loving it.
Yeah, if you guys come out here, we're going to a brewery. But actually, well, can I rewind? So I was touring in bands for a while, and we toured the UK, and I never drank beer. And when we toured in England, they would always have free beer for us at all the pubs we'd play. And they wouldn't give you like water or anything else. They just, you can drink beer. And so I was like, okay, I'll drink a beer. I wasn't really into it. And by the time I got home from tour, I was sitting around one night and I was like, I feel like a beer. And my wife's like, what? And that's how I started drinking beer. I'll blame it on England. when I got back, I was about a few years ago during the pandemic when everything was shut down. Me and some of my friends that were also musicians, we would Zoom hang and or FaceTime hang, and we'd drink beer and we'd talk about everything that was going on with UFOs. And we'd do it like on the regular, and it's just such fun hangs. And after that, I was like, man, I should start a show where it's just like you're hanging out at the pub or whatever, drinking a beer with people and talking about UFOs and what's going on with not just UFOs, paranormal or, telepathy or whatever, you want to talk about. But that's how it started. So
fantastic, man.
I like the way that we are, the English are accredited to Brew getting on the drink.
No joke. It's a true story, and cheers to England,
Of all the things that we need to be associated with, anyone that does come to England, there's nowhere you can go without having a drink. It is like, what do you call it? It's tradition, isn't it? Back in the day, pubs in England, not so much now. It has lost its sort of a thing, but it never used. You think like, Brew, that you probably won't understand this, but when I was, it's like I'm going to say like I'm really old, but I'm not. But I remember when I first went into a pub, the Mason's Arms, it was called. Okay,
my first pub as well.
Yeah, the Mason's Arm, and
And
they
you
used to have roast potatoes on a Sunday on the bar, free for everybody to munch on, pour your salt, and just pick, and everyone would laugh and joke, and it was It was very, what is it?
Community spirited. Yeah.
Community spirited. Now, and it was just about getting together and having a drink. But now it's all restaurant based. Most pubs in this country will not survive unless you're a Weatherspoons, where the pints are 90p.
And Matt, one of our viewers, is always in there, so she keeps them
Yeah,
down.
Matt, she's
Yeah,
off
look, see,
now. Look,
Cheers, Marion.
But yeah, it is, and I think this is.
But I don't agree with you so much that I think it's gone, because if you go out to the country, the pubs are still very much part of the.
Yeah.
I could
I
see
was on a
being
pub
a
over the weekend as well, so
Yeah, they're still there. And I think they will come back.
I think they will.
That's been the problem out here. So I've been playing bands and touring for like over 20 years, and over here in the US it was always bars and just 21 and up. You have to be 21 or older to be in there, and now just in the last, breweries have been around, but now just in the last 10 years, breweries have really been just popping up everywhere here. And the good thing is about the breweries here is you can bring your families, you can bring kids, and people bring their dogs. And it's just like a whole, like you're saying, like a community event. Yeah. And that's why I love breweries so much, and the brewery culture now. And it's just really exploded here. And but that's what it used to be, is what you're saying, Russ, is just like, it was just like a bar, or it's just centered around being a restaurant or whatever. But now it's more of like, you can just hang out,
Yeah.
So it's cool.
Yeah, that's the sad thing about it, because obviously the art of conversation, as Paul said, beginning the show, this is what it's like, what you did during COVID times and the lockdown. You just got your group, and this is how this show become about. During the lockdown, this show was built on the same principle. What else could I have done every night of the week? Nothing. So let's start a show. Let's get on there where people can come and talk and chat.
Well, it's kind of where the conspiracy theory come from anyway, wasn't it? About our governments trying to shut all the pubs because they want their narrative. This is a conspiracy, by the way. Their narrative has to be the way. And to stop people meeting up and talking about it and discussing it and disagreeing with it, everyone met up at the pub. I mean, we was losing pubs, like 1,000 pubs a week at one point, weren't we?
Yeah, we were. Yeah.
You know, but little did they know that while that's happening, podcasts and things like that just took off and went through the roof. So you've not really stopped it; you've just moved it.
Yeah, and the mom and pop or the family businesses were the ones that died the most, and then the corporations that could stay afloat, they're the ones that are still around.
Yeah,
so
100%.
That's kind of weird, huh?
Yeah, very.
Right, let's get off of the pub chat. Let's get on to what we're actually in here for. I say you've been obviously, Brew. You spoke before the show. You work from home. You was just obviously scrolling through YouTube or Facebook, wherever, and you just saw us pop up on your screen and decided to give us a listen. And you got addicted to two middle-aged men and an old git talking about ufology and the paranormal.
Yes.
and you've sort of always been in the shows as and when you can over the last sort of couple of months. So it's been and I thought, you know what, let's get you on. Let's do what this show's about, and let's just get you talking about, you know, your love of, you know, the ufology side of the paranormal, or whatever that sort of got you into this sort of thing. So my first question to you, Chad, is, you know, what got you into the paranormal? What is your background of that? And
so I grew up really religious, Protestant Christian. My family was really, they still are, but very, grew up in church, and I play what they call worship music out here. Like I play guitar and sing for the church. I had started, I was doing that at a young age. I was really, really involved with the church, but then in my early 20s, I left because I was just really curious and thinking about, what else is reality? What's going on here? So I would say, because there's a lot of stuff in the Bible and religion that's paranormal on its own, like that's just pretty wild. So that's probably what got me into being like, reality's bigger than just myself. But my first, I guess I could just go into my first paranormal experience that really affected me. But the same guys that I just told you guys about that I started BrewFO's, we were doing FaceTime chats over the pandemic times. They were musicians, and I would see them in the state of Utah out here. I would see them when I was on tour, and that's how I met them. And whenever I'd see them on tour, they'd tell me all these crazy ghost stories because Utah is really haunted. There's a lot of haunted places in Utah. And I was always kind of just like, like they'd tell me a story, and I was kind of like, I hear what you guys are saying. It's a crazy story, but I'm not like that into it. Then fast forward, me and my wife get together, and I say, hey, you got to meet my friends in Utah. Let's do a road trip up to Utah. So me and my wife head up to Utah. We're hanging out with my friends, and they start talking about ghosts. And I go, hey, you know what? You guys kept telling me the story about this ghost at a graveyard. If she's real, let's go there right now. Let's go, drive us there right now, and we'll see if this is like, are we allowed to cuss on here? No, I'll just say, okay, see if it's rubbish. Is that the right way? So we go out to this graveyard. 5 of us go out, including me. We go out and we park in front of this gravesite. And this graveyard, by the way, is huge. It has street signs. Like it's got its own street signs. There's a lot of dead people there, so we park in front of this gravestone. You're supposed to shine your light a few times, turn off your car, and then wait. And so we're sitting there, we're doing it, and I'm just like, oh my God, this is dumb, And we're sitting there, and I'm like, okay. And I look at them all, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna give it 5 more minutes, and then let's get out of here. And right when I said that, it felt like I was at the bottom of like the ocean or something. Like I was gravity felt really heavy, and I felt like I was like being pushed down, and I was like, what? And then everyone starts screaming in the car, and they're pointing in the front of us, and I'm like, what? And I look in front of me, and what I see, this is the best way I can explain it, okay? But what I see is on the road, there's a road in front of us, and then there's gravestones on each side of the road. On the left side in front of me, there's like it looked like a misty, cloudy blanket, like floating like this, zigzagging up the road, but it would go in and out. So like, it almost looked like someone had a projector, like an old timey projector, and they'd go flash, 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 and then flash, flash, flash. And I was like, what? And then everyone's screaming, and it's coming closer and closer. And I'm looking up, and I'm like, it's a clear sky. And I'm like looking around. I was looking for like somebody flashing a light or something. It just looked really weird. And we drove right through it. So I turned the car on, and everyone's screaming, go. And we drove right through it, and we start driving. And since my friends have experienced this before, they were like, nobody talk. Nobody say anything. When we get home, we're all going to go to separate rooms, and on a piece of paper, we're going to draw what we saw. And so, because they've done this a bunch of times, you know, and I'm like, okay. And now I'm starting to like think like, man, maybe these guys, maybe I should listen to all their ghost stories, you know. But we get home. Sorry, I know this is long. I'm trying to.
No, carry on.
Okay, I'm enjoying it.
So we all do we separately draw. We all come back in the room. We all open up our, you know, show each other our papers. Okay. There's 5 of us, right? So 2 of us, which was me and my friend's wife, we drew what I told you guys about, that weird, and our drawings were the same. They just looked like a little like cloud or something above the road, right? The other 3, which was my wife and my 2 friends, they drew a woman, a white woman in a dress, and all their drawings were the same. The dress was going the same way, and she was walking up to the car. And so then we all started talking about what we saw. And the 3 of them saw a woman form and then turn into a ghost and walk towards the car. And, you know, us 2, me and my friend's wife just saw a weird blanket coming forward, you know. But her name is supposed to be Florence. And everyone sees her all the time, but I didn't see her. I just saw the weird blanket thing.
I'm glad you didn't say it though.
Would is that now related to the artist impression that you sent me?
Yeah. So then I had an artist in the Ukraine. We wrote a song about it, me and my friends, and then we had an artist in the Ukraine do an illustration of it. And I sent it to Russ. So if you want to bring it up, you can.
Did you go back, Chad?
I have not been back, but they have.
And did they see it again?
Yes, they've had experiences again. And there's so many too. And I've heard of them talking about it before we went there. Oh yeah, there it is.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So
I love the face in the door mirror as well. That's freaky.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah, you know, it's kind of fantastical illustration of it, but I just, you know, I think it's beautiful, and it's one of my favorite illustrations. So,
what time of day did you go, Chad?
It was nighttime. So, and we were trying not to get caught because I guess a lot of police patrol the graveyard because it's so big, and a lot of people will go there and just like hang out and, you know, like get drunk or whatever. But like, we were sober. We didn't, none of us were drinking or doing anything. And, but I think it's probably around 10 PM at night, 10 or 11, and, clear night, no fog. It was cold. It was kind of cold. So there might've been some snow on the ground, but it definitely wasn't mist and it looked weird, you know? And another thing to add to it too is my friend's wife and me, the ones that saw the mist, we were the only 2 that grew up religious. The other 3 didn't. So like my wife didn't grow up religious, and my two friends didn't.
That's
So
strange.
it's kind of weird that us two saw something different
Yeah.
than the other three. You know.
Yeah.
So
See, that was one
Yeah.
of my questions. Sorry, I tend to look down sometimes, Brew, because
Oh, no,
I
you're good.
write questions down. So please don't think I'm ignoring you. I just when people talk, I have to write questions down.
Yeah.
It was. I find it very similar to mine and Simon's story, how we both got into the paranormal.
Yeah.
You know, Simon went to the same graveyard many years before I did, and the lady in question, Flo, looks very similar to the lady that
Yeah.
I saw
Yeah.
at Bawley Rectory by the gate. I'm looking at that photo now, even with the car. The car, Simon would not get out of the car when I took him to Bawley Rectory.
Yeah.
You've got a car in a graveyard, which is, and I mean, it's identical to
Wow.
and that's
Wow.
that's more even freaky than the
Yeah.
story. If that makes sense.
Isn't
No,
that
you always
weird too? Oh, go ahead, Simon.
No, we always, when I first went there, I went with a friend, and I was only probably about 17, 18. We went to this churchyard, and we saw the white lady. We were away, but we saw it again when Russ was there, and the same similar things happened to us in the drive up to when me and my friend drove up to the church. We had a banging on his car. When I drove Russ up to the church 20 years later, or maybe even more than that, but 20 years later, we had the same banging on the car, and we had to get out and look because we thought something had hit us. I actually pulled up to lights at crossroads that weren't there. It was a bizarre night. And I can still go back to that place. Sometimes I will get out of Bawley Rectory. Sometimes I'm just going to sit in that car, thanks, and look at my feet because I don't want to see it. But, yeah.
But with that drawing, it's got that car there, which is for both parties is quite important. It's an important part of the car is important because you've got your 5. We had 5 in the car as well. Funny enough,
We did.
when we first went, when you took me to Bawley Rectory, and it's very bizarre because even the car, looking at the graveyard, it's sort of to the same side of the graveyard that we would pull up on in Bawley Rectory.
Yeah.
Obviously, you drive on a different side to us over there, so the passenger side would be your driver's side with the rear. And it's so identical.
Isn't that weird? How too the common story throughout time? It's been hundreds of years, maybe thousands, but of the white lady.
Yes.
Like I've heard it all over.
Yeah.
And then now in the UFO phenomenon too, people will see like a white lady or a lady with the UFO thing too, and it's just like, wow, it's weird how they kind of like, you know, mix or whatever.
And that does get me thinking now, because you know we've got, you know, we've never spoke about obviously stories like this with you. You don't know our story, and vice versa.
Yeah.
And you know, you're in a total different time zone. You're in a total different country with a total different culture, with a total different history. But there's one common. This white lady, isn't there? White lady. Now that's got my cogs ticking even
we
more.
even named her at one point, didn't we? I think she had a name at one point. I can't remember what it was, but
If it was Flo, I'm out of here. I'm done.
Later, bye. Peace out.
Yeah, if you
I don't
your name's Flo, I'm done, Simon. All right.
Oh, something like Rose. It was something. It was like a flowery name because she gave us a scent. If you remember, we used to get that flower smell.
Yes, of Rose.
We called her Rose. Yeah.
Yes, we did. You're right.
Yeah. What I've heard with Flo out here is that sometimes you get that that dead body, dead animal, dead rat kind of smell.
Yeah,
and that's what people would smell with her. And there's something I forgot that I left out too. But we couldn't sleep that night. And have you guys heard of that the hitchhiker effect or whatever?
Yes.
Like we
You bring
felt,
it home with you?
yeah. So the whole time we didn't sleep at all because the whole time it was the weirdest feeling. I've never had it before, but it felt like, I guess, okay, there's a zoo here in San Diego and there's a lion here, and I've had the lion lock eyes with me before, and I'm just like, like, or a crocodile, or, you know, an alligator, like a predator, right? And I couldn't see anything, but you just felt that feeling like a predator was watching me the whole time. And so I couldn't sleep. I was like, and at that time I was leaving my religious, you know, beliefs and being curious and learning more about other things. But I was like, should I pray right now? Like, I felt like I don't know what this thing is, you know? So it was weird. It was really weird.
That is one of my questions. That was my next question. I've put on my bit of paper here. You know, after that experience, how did that change? Obviously, being strong with your religion, and how did that change you? You know, did your religion stop then, or did you question it, or did it make you religious? Yeah,
that's a great question. So since I grew up and that was all I knew, that was my first instinct was like, oh, maybe I should pray, you know, because this is what I was brought up learning to do. But what it really did was, I think it opened my universe more, because I'm like, wow, there's stuff out. Because when I was leaving religion, I was more like going towards the path of like, maybe I'm atheist, like maybe there's nothing, and when we die we just go to dirt and that's it. And then this made me go, oh, there's way more to reality than I even know. And it didn't make me go, oh, I'm going back to religion. It just made me go, there's way more that I don't know, and I just want to know more. So now I want to be more open, and I want to learn more and investigate more. So it changed me.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Better.
But did you know? Sorry, I'm writing questions down. Do you mind me asking questions?
Not at all. I love it, man.
Right.
It's fun.
So, do you still believe in God now? To like, you know, you said, do you know this? Do you know that? You was questioning this, you know, and if you do, is it still the God that you sort of was brought up on, or is there a different sort of, you know, a belief within inside you?
Yeah. So on BrewFO's my conversation series, I talk about this a lot, and basically it's what I talk is the word belief and the word knowing or knowledge. And so since I left like what I was indoctrinated with and what I grew up with, I was like, man, that word belief, it kind of bothered me now, because I've seen what belief has done negatively with people and movements and cults and things like that. And so now for me, I don't want to believe anymore. I just want to know. And if new data and new information comes in that's different, then my knowledge will change and grow. But like, I don't want to just believe in something, because, you know, that could get me in trouble, I think. So with the God, with what you're saying about God, it's not that I believe in God. I just think there is something more than us. And I guess the theory that I lean more towards, and I don't believe it, I just, what I'm thinking maybe it is that, you know, we're all one. Our consciousness, what we think consciousness is, where creativity comes from, where love comes from, where the positivity that we feel, the healing, light, you know, positivity, all that's all where we might come from, and then come into a physical form. And then when we die, that's where we all go back to. And I think that might be what this is an analogy. Do you guys know Star Trek? There's a character in Deep Space Nine called Odo, and Odo is he can have physical form or become liquid form, and his whole arc is, he's a security officer and all this stuff, but he goes back to his home planet. His home planet is like a water world or a liquid world, and what he does is he goes back into liquid form and goes back into everybody, and they're all like kind of one and share knowledge. So they send each other out physically in the universe to learn, and then they come back and then they go back into the liquid pool. And so maybe that's what God is. I don't know what it is, but I'm open to it, man. I'm open to what God could be.
Yeah, that's quite a beautiful explanation, actually.
Yeah.
It's a good explanation.
And I think with the consciousness side of things, I think it's quantum as well.
Yeah.
We are all, and I'm quite a strong believer in that myself. I think we are all connected somewhere along the line.
Yeah. I believe you can tap into a higher power and use it as well. I believe we've all got the ability to tap into, but we won't do it. Some people will, like-minded people on this chat, will go into it and use it. But there's still, I would say, 80% of people wouldn't use it.
But do you think,
that comes down to indoctrination again. Sorry, Russ, I didn't mean to jump in there, mate.
No. I was just
going to find out things. See, that's where I've got to know. I probably used to be one of the worst followers, I would say, and then I've come out of it in the last 20 odd years.
I think what you're saying there, Simon. Sorry, Paul. I know we're trying to get everything in, but what you just said there. We can tap into this higher power, this higher consciousness of some form. I think that naturally happens. I don't think we have to force that. I think people like us, will naturally. It just is a natural thing because you're intrigued. Once you find that intriguedness, and I know it sounds really. And looking at it, because I'm only just sort of in my head, just as we speak, as we show, is like, what about this white lady? This white lady could be I know this white lady. Every time, Brew said it, Simon, you said it, I've said it. The first time we saw it, it scared us. But if we didn't see that white lady, where would we be now? We would be still behind the rock of what is out there. Now, what if this white lady isn't something, I say Paul could have seen the white lady in his time somewhere along the line or something like that, where they've shown you in a form that isn't as hard hitting as what it could be or what it really is. It's a white lady that is quite, going by your picture, Brew, is quite gentle. If you saw that coming towards you, even though it's see-through, you would still think, well, I ain't going to run just yet because until her face changed with red eyes and teeth and things like that, we're not forward. Yeah. But that,
well, like in the Indiana Jones and remember when that ghost was like when they opened the Ark of the Covenant and it's like a white lady and then it's all
I just think we were all on this consciousness because we would have. The consciousness is connected. We know that because we've got a guest on here from America that has never seen us before, and all of a sudden just comes across our page all of a sudden, and then we have a connection.
Yeah.
That's consciousness working through the technology of today. Mm-hmm. And I think we haven't tapped into that. We've just hired ourselves to a natural belief that there is things out there that is different.
Yes.
And I think that is your higher consciousness in my head. I think that want, as you said, Brew, of knowledge, that's just how I see it.
Well, you know how the in UFO or ufology, there's that poster that has the classic saucer and it says, "I want to believe."
Yes.
I've posted before. I changed it. I said, "I want to know," because I want to know. I don't want to believe anything. I just want to know. And because if I'm believing in it, then that's just me. Like, I think like blindly just saying, yes, this is real without like like looking into it more, and I just like my stuff could change. You know, I think I've learned in my life that information changes, information updates, information can change my mind. Who I thought, you know, was cool can turn out to be, you know, like never meet your heroes kind of thing. Like who you think like you look up to can totally be awful, and who you think, you know, is awful could turn out to be actually really cool. So, you know, I just try to have an open mind. So
I think that's the best way to be.
Yeah,
then I'm just going to Paul. Have you got? Sorry, you had a comment you wanted to make.
No,
didn't you?
no, you're fine. You've kind of covered it.
I just got some. We've got people commenting, so I just better sort of go back a bit. Kurt Essex, only been to Bawley Rectory twice. Want to go there again one night back in the 70s when I was a kid. Was my first real ghost story.
is Borley Rectory the place you guys went?
Bawley Rectory's no longer there; it burnt down. But it's Harry Price was a very famous investigator from here, and he went to Bawley Rectory. After that, it burnt down. But they say all the activities transferred to the church.
Okay.
So the nuns, what you see, are into the church. But leading up to Bawley Rectory, there's still some old gates, and there's still a lot around the back of the church. So
wow,
there's still lots going on there.
Yeah.
But it's not an easy place to really investigate because of it's residential. So you've got a house across the road.
Oh yeah.
Behind the church. So you've got to really do it, and you've got to really be quiet because, like anything, you get peed off if people keep coming to the church every night. But yeah, it's a great place if you just want to drive and see things, because I think you do see light anomalies and orbs. If you want to see orbs, that's the place I will go, because things do happen there. Definitely.
It's probably one of the biggest ghost stories in England's history.
Wow.
You've got the the Warrens spent a lot of time.
That's right.
Ed and Lorraine Warren. I do believe their son-in-law Tony Spear has got an official brick from the rectory in his occult museum over. I think it's Connecticut. I might be getting that wrong, but somewhere over there, he's got an official brick from the rectory in the States somewhere as well. It had I think it burnt down about 3 or 4 times prior to that, and they always rebuilt it, and it just kept burning down, and they got to the point where it didn't rebuild it, did they? So
I think the last time was about the 50s, I would say. Yeah, really, really good place, and it's atmospheric there. So you go there and you can feel it. If you're a connected person, you'll feel it just driving up, and that's what I say. Sometimes I can get out there. Sometimes I don't want to look, because there must be something sinister there if I don't want to get out and look.
Yeah, you feel it. You feel it. Yeah.
Wow. Next comment was, just for reference, the White Lady, the Phantom Nun, is believed to be Marie Leary, also known as Mary. Larry or Larry?
Larry.
Yeah. Something.
Yeah. I wouldn't know how to pronounce that one. So thank you, Jane. Cheryl as well. Hi there. I'm listening and I find it very interesting. I've been brought up on Christian environment all my life and been steered away from the paranormal. And now I wonder what is true/real, and is it good, if that makes sense. So I'm enjoying listening.
Awesome. Well, that's one of the things I was going to say when Simon said he's not always, been that way. And I said it comes down to the indoctrination again. The way religion was such a big thing, especially in the past. Get them young, bring them up into the church. This is the way this is what you should believe. If you don't believe in that, it's a sin. It was a way of frightening people away from opening your mind, exploring. And that's the way I look at it anyway. I'm not saying that all religions like that, but I think a lot of the time that's where it's try to keep people.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, yeah.
I think the Bible, when we talk about the biblical sense of things, I've said it a long time. Like, my theory on it is that, I think the Bible is like the book of life. That's how they want you to be, and that's how we should be brought up. Love thy neighbor. If we're all good and we'll go to heaven and things like that. But over time, that has become hard to abide by. I do believe the Bible tells us a lot of things. If you can, I don't know if Mickey is in the chat, but Mickey is very much into his
It's Christian.
Christianity,
Yeah.
in believing in God. And, I do, but if you dig deep enough into some of the verses and some of the chapters, I think it does give us that um, broad horizon of what is on the other side of that. I don't think they close us off to it, but I think you have to be a very um, clever and understanding person. Not to say that we're not, but to be able to decipher
Yeah.
what is put in that Bible. Hence why they've probably taken away certain chapters, haven't there? Was it 50 odd chapters has been hidden from the original biblical sense? We talk about the book of Revelations, where they do talk about the land of the giants, they talk about the Nephilim, they talk about spaceships. I do think they can drip feed it to it. Do I think it's a thing that we should all, I'm never going to be able to read the Bible. I can sit there and put my hand on my heart and never be able to read it because it wouldn't, I don't do books very well. But I do think that we should try to use the chapters that are important to the paranormal journey. And I do think they tell us more of our history than what we know, but we've just got to be able to make that work in our heads. That's how I see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's a professor of religious studies from North Carolina, Wilmington, out here, and her name is Diana Pasulka, and she is one of the few people that they let into the Vatican archives, and she can actually go back and she can study the scrolls like original Copernicus. Like, she can do all these things, right? But she's written 3 books about this subject. What got her into it is she was writing a book about. Sorry, this is what you were saying, Russ, reminded me of this. She was writing a book about purgatory, and the Vatican let her in, and she's got to read all these old scrolls because a lot of people don't realize this, but the Roman Catholic Church is one of the longest running intelligence agencies with agents, and they investigate, and they've been taking notes and detailed things for thousands of years, right? So they got information that we don't have. But in the Vatican archive, she's allowed to go in there and read these original things. And she was like, oh, it's going to help me write my book. What she was realizing when she was writing this book was, wow, a lot of this sounds like UFO stuff, like this sounds like, like how you were saying, like something shows up and you're scared and do not be afraid, but it's a ball of light, or like what was the star that was leading the wise men?
Yeah.
Like if you, a moving star doesn't sound like there's not a star that just hovers and moves and leads somebody somewhere. Like that sounds like an orb to me, or maybe a bright UFO.
Fallen angel.
Yeah, Saul in the Bible became Paul, but he was on a donkey and he was like riding, and a flash of light hit him, and it said do not be afraid. And he was, at that time, he was I think he was persecuting Christians or whatever. And then for 2 weeks he was blind, and it said scales were on his eyes, and when the scales fell off, he was like, oh, I'm going to start teaching Jesus's stuff and whatever. But if you look into UFO things, some of encounters, people get radiation and they get scales burns, or their eyes get burned and scales will fall off of their eyes. So it sounds like all this stuff just kind of like, wow, the Bible does have a lot of knowledge and crazy stuff about what's going on. But I think it was just trying to explain what we're all experiencing right now. And we got this book that's full of all these. I mean, it's not a book, but Bible means library. So
Yeah.
it's a library of all these accounts, and they were all trying to explain something what we're all trying to explain right now. So I think there's a lot of good stuff in there, but I don't think it's the end all be all. And I think we can learn from it, but there's new stuff happening. There's stuff happening right now that we need to learn from. And I think the Bible's good to look at, but there's more to look at, and everyone should check out Diana Pasulka because her books are really cool.
It's how it's interpreted
Who
as
was
well.
it? Sorry, who's that?
Diana Pasulka, and she has 3 books out about the subject right now. The first one is called American Cosmic. The second one is called Encounters. And the third one is called, I think it's called UFOs, AI, and something else. I can't remember. We have it, but I don't know where it is right now. UFO. She has a third book that just came out about UFOs and AI.
Good. That's fine.
Cheryl has put, I still believe, but question a lot more now. I don't just accept things blindly, but I want to know more. That's why she's listening.
Yeah.
Agree. There's way more. 100%. Absolute.
It's called The Others.
Oh, it's called The Others. Okay.
No.
Cool. It's The Others, and then I think like it has the title, and then it says like UFOs, AI, like whatever.
I'd say
I was close.
You was nearly there. Let's say you was nearly there.
No, yeah, I was off. I was way off, everybody. Let's be real. But yeah, it's really cool. Her, and then for Christians out there, I would say if you read books, read Paul Wallace. Paul Wallace, I had him on my show actually. I read 4 of his books. I think he has 6 or 7. But he used to be a pastor, and what he used to do was teach pastors how to translate ancient Hebrew and Latin into to understand the Bible better. So that was his job for teaching people how to do ancient translations. And what would bug him is he would read the ancient translations and be like, wait, what it says in the Bible doesn't say that. They translated that wrong, or that's different than what. And so
that's what I was going to say when I said it's about interpretation and how many times that's been translated, and has it been translated correctly? Yep,
exactly. Even there's Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John that everyone always refers to. Mark even has, I think it's after the chapter 16, verse 8. Everything's there was stuff added, that's not in the Dead Sea Scrolls. So some scribe or something added all these verses that was you have to be baptized to be saved, and added stuff in. So later on it worked more with the laws that the Catholic Church was doing at the time. So
that's one thing that always bothered me though. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, they're not really sort of Middle Eastern names. Not really sort of names of the area and the time. That always got me. That did.
That's a good point. I haven't looked into that. I haven't thought about that. That's actually a good point.
There you go. See.
Yeah.
There are Native American cave paintings showing star people that predates Christianity.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah, you're quite right. There is.
Yep.
Seen them.
I had Navajo Rangers on my show that from the Navajo Nation, and they were talking about how they would, take all the kids and put them in a Catholic church, make them cut their hair, which their hair was that was their thing. In their tribes and stuff, they'd grow their hair and they'd cut their hair and then indoctrinate them, and tell them, they have to believe in Jesus and all these things, and just the stuff that a lot of Native Americans had to go through, and indigenous people from that is just awful. And now you hear about, I think it was in Canada, finding by all the Christian schools. They're finding all these mass graves of the little kids and stuff. And so it's just like, woo. Sorry, I don't mean to go doomer.
No.
But see, that's not, again, that's, to me, that's not the religious side of it. That's man's side of it. That's the greed and the power, and that's not religion to me. That's men.
Yeah.
That's man, isn't it? You know.
Yeah.
Evil bastards.
Well, but in religion and belief, like what you're saying there, Paul, that people with, I would say, bad intentions, or people that are tricksters, or people that can manipulate people, they can rise up in those institutions.
100%,
because
and they have.
because you're, I can have power over people, or I can manipulate people, or I can have someone, and that's why it's sad, because there's a lot of great pastors out there. There's a lot of, good people in religion, but it is a place where, people like that can rise to power like really easily. So that's a good point.
Right. I'm gonna go on to the next question. All right.
Was that question one?
Well, no, that's what I say. This we just go.
I'll just keep going. Sorry.
Because obviously we've started on sort of your paranormal stuff, your ghost stories. Now, have you got sort of your ufology side of stuff?
Yeah.
You've spoke about your ghost side, and I'm a strong believer. I'm an absolute strong believer that this all goes hand in hand. I don't think we see UFOs when we don't see ghosts. We don't see ghosts when we don't see UFOs. I think you've all got to be open-minded and accept there is different sources out there. Like what Simon was saying, open-minded, that higher connection. I don't think you can witness these things without necessarily having seen either or either, because it changes that vibration, releases something within your head. So I know that you sort of said that in your sort of email prior that you had sort of a UFO story as well, I believe, was it?
Yeah.
So let's go to the opposite side of the paranormal, and let's talk about your UFO side of things.
Yeah. So 2013. Hey Joe. 2013. July 4th, which is Independence Day out here. So there's like fireworks going off and all that. But me and my wife were walking by the beach, and it was getting about twilight, so the sun went down. I think we watched the sunset, so it's starting to get dark, but it's not completely dark yet. And we're walking by the beach, and then we start walking back across the street. We're coming up, and there's a hill, and there's all these houses on the hill, and above the houses, and it was a clear night. There was a metallic silver sphere, and it was, I would say, about the size of a car, and maybe about 300 feet in the air. And it didn't look like it was hovering; it was just stuck. Like, it looked weird because it was just like usually when you see something in the air, there's some type of movement, right?
Yeah.
There was no movement at all. And it was just stuck. And at the very bottom, there was like a dim red light. And since it was 4th of July, there was people walking by. And I was like, huh? And it was 2013, so I just had a clam phone. I didn't have a smartphone, but it had a camera, and I was trying to take pictures, but it was like twilight, so like it just looks like nothing on my phone. And I'm like, ugh. But a family was walking by, and I was like, hey, do you guys see that? And the dad, they all looked up and saw it, but the dad looked at it and he was like, huh, it's a UFO. And then he just kept walking. and I was like,
it's an everyday occurrence.
Yeah. I was like, what? And so we didn't know what to do with it. So we just stood there and we watched it for like 10 minutes. And then we're like, I guess we'll just go, because it's just stuck there. And what else are we going to do? I can't take a picture of it. Like, the news isn't around. Nobody walking around cares. So like, we just went home. But that was weird. And then I just forgot about it. And then didn't think anything of it. And then in 2017, Tom DeLonge, which is in the that punk band Blink-182. He went on Joe Rogan and he started talking about UFOs, and he started talking about how there's going to be hearings coming and all these things. And I was like, oh man. And I saw him on there and I was like, oh man, that guy's lost his mind. Poor guy. And I went to band practice and I told all my band members, I was like, oh, I thought his band was cool, but that guy's lost his mind. Poor guy. He's crazy, you know? And then the 2017 New York Times article came out, and it was like, glowing auras and black money is about UFOs, and it was talking about the military investigating it and pilots seeing stuff. And like, I was like, man, maybe Tom wasn't crazy. and then so I started looking into it a little bit. And then Ross Coulthart, who I told you is on News Nation, he has Reality Check, wrote this book called In Plain Sight. Sorry, I know I throw in a lot of books and references here, but I've seen Ross before as a journalist, and I thought he was awesome. I've seen him like cover war and stuff. He's an Australian journalist, and I've seen him on 60 Minutes, and I was like, oh, he's starting to look into UFOs. I'll follow his journey, you know? And he was kind of like, haha, that's funny. And now he's like all about it. Like, I followed his journey. I read his book, and I was just like, what's going on here? Made me dive more into it. I remembered that 2013 thing, what we saw. I was like, what? And now I've seen some more stuff. So, I mean, I could stop there if you guys have any more. Like, I'll keep talking. You know, it's like
No,
Mate,
okay.
I want to know what you've seen. That's that. You know,
Yeah.
But Chad, do you not think though that's opening your mind? Because we go to certain places, and I think if you're open to it, you'll see more of them.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah,
and it's not like, again, like, I know I push hard on this, and I'm sorry, because I understand it's a word we all use, but it's not that I believe in it again. It's just I'm open to it. I'm open to, like, I don't know what this is. I'm okay with the unknown, but I want to know. So like, I just want to keep. I'm not like there's nothing out there. I want to know. And yes, if you're open, I think yes, you'll see more stuff. But if you're like, this is bullshit, you know. Oh, sorry.
now you're
right. You're off.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree with you, because since I've been open, I've been seeing weird stuff, and weird experiences have been happening. So, orbs. I've seen orbs. That's another thing. So, I've grown up in the city where I am now, and there's an airport, and I know what planes look like. I grew up swimming in the ocean. I learned how to swim in the ocean. That's how I learned how to swim at 4 years old. So like, I've been a fish, right? My whole life, pretty much just swimming in the ocean. My wife and I this is about 3 years ago, I think 3 or 4 years ago, we were walking again by the beach, and above the water, there was 3 orange orbs going like, you know, kind of like this, just floating around. And there's so much military out where we are in San Diego. So I know what a flare looks like. This is not a flare. Okay. There's no smoke. These things aren't like slowly falling with smoke. There's not this like glistening, like glowing light. It's just these hovering orbs, and then they would kind of get dimmer and then kind of get brighter. There were no boats. There was no one on the shore. This is at nighttime. There's no one on the shore like a drone, like people might think it was a drone. Drones don't go that far, by the way. And it was just 3 orbs going like this. So we were like, oh my God, like this is crazy. And again, there'd be like a random person walking by or whatever. This time I wasn't like, hey, do you see that? I was just like looking at them, and like me and my wife were like loud, like, wow, that's crazy, you know, but like no one cared. So we FaceTimed our friend, and we showed our friend on FaceTime, and she could see him. So she was like, whoa, that's crazy. And then a 4th one came into like, it was like, and then there was 4 of them kind of going like this. And this was like maybe 10 minutes or maybe a little less than 10 minutes. And then each one of them finally just kind of like went out. and I don't know what that was, but that was weird. And I know other people have seen stuff like that, but I don't know what that was.
Wow.
But
That's interesting. Joe has sent you a message in. You know, Joe, he was on the show a few weeks ago. Do you have a favourite disclosure person, and one he avoids our possibility
disinformation agency. Yeah. Yeah. So I always look towards the whistleblowers. I look to the whistleblowers because no matter what subject or, if they're coming from a corporation or something, being a whistleblower sucks. Like if you're coming forward and saying, hey, the people I was with were doing this bad thing and now my pension's going away, or I'm going to have to go to jail, or whatever it is. Like I usually, listen to what whistleblowers have to say. So we got, so, I hope I'm not missing any, but Matthew Brown, Dylan Borland, David Grush, those three right now. I'm like, Jeff Nucitelli, there's another one, but those guys, I'm really listening to what they have to say, and I'm like, okay, that, and their credentials and their background is crazy. So, some of them were intelligence, some of them were in the Air Force, high-ranking people. So and they're getting screwed with right now. They're getting threatened. They're trying to seek protections right now. They're trying to, all of them have made videos right now. That's a recent thing that's happened. They've all made videos, kind of like, pleading with President Trump to waive their NDAs so they can talk publicly about what they really know. But what they've said publicly is, we know that there's non-human intelligence, there's crash retrieval programs. Who I stay away from, who I usually stay away from, number one, is people that talk negatively about everybody openly all the time. So like if there's some disclosure or UFO person and they're like, oh, this person's full of, this person's full of like whatever. I don't think that's the right way to do it. And if that was true, I think it'll just you just be like, oh, and say it nicely. Like, I don't listen to them, or what they're saying I don't think is true, and whatever. But like people that are really negative, I kind of stay away from. But a popular guy is Dr. Stephen Greer. And I think Dr. Stephen Greer has really done a lot of good things for disclosure and ufology back in the day. But I think currently I'm not so sure about someone like that. Stephen Greer.
To be fair, just as you said that, that was your next question. I've got another question before that, but I'll go back to you, Dean, and I'll stay on that one.
Yeah, I think so. Again, this is not me talking badly about Stephen Greer, but what I will say is I've watched many interviews with him, and my meter of something's off here. Especially he did one on
the later ones, definitely. I think.
Yeah, there's a Theories of Everything podcast. It's called TOE podcast, and he did a long interview on there. And the guy's really nice, and he just asked him simple questions, and he got real defensive. Stephen Greer got really defensive and was just like getting upset, and that all to me too. Like if someone asked me a question and like a simple question, and I got mad and upset and started, oh, why are you asking me that? It just my alerts went off. So I'm not talking badly about Stephen Greer, but that's just somebody that a lot of people talk about. But it's not that I avoid him. It's just I proceed with caution. That's what I would say.
Yeah. He's a hard one to work out. I like his methods. Mm-hmm. I really like his methods. I like the fact that obviously he does the CE5 project, doesn't he? Where you can call it, you gather around together as a collective, and we all look together, and I love all that. And I think that's a really positive way. But as you say, there is just something that I can't put my finger on with him. I think he's one of them. I think he's protected by the government, because I think he's one of them that they will give him all the information and let him go and spurt it. And that's why I think he's protected, because he goes, well, I've got enough. If I ever get killed, I've got enough. They can't kill me because I've got bits
Dead
of
man switch.
information here, a dead man switch and all that rubbish. Yeah, but that dead man switch don't mean anything to me, because it only takes a nutter that wants to know all that to go and shoot him and get all that information out. If he's got that much information, it doesn't matter if you're protected or not. Either side of the fence you sit on with him, someone's going to be after him. So I think he's well and truly protected by the government. But I do like his ways of how he uses that method of,
Connection.
the connection.
Can I say something about CE5 too? Like,
Yeah.
I have friends that are, I wouldn't say summoning, but I have friends that are seeing orbs and stuff, but they're not necessarily using the quote unquote CE5 method. So like, I would just tell everyone out there too, I don't know if you have to pay for that or whatever it is, but like, I think we all have the abilities, or some abilities, to connect to whatever this is, and connect to positive things or negative things. I think you can connect to negative things as well. And some people do that, and they try to gain power through negative things as well. And I think there's two.
Intention.
Exactly. Comes down to intention. And thanks for saying that, Paul. Actually, my quote on BrewFO is intention flies the craft. So I think good intention is what you need to strive for in anything you do.
Yeah.
So
100%.
That one as well. No, I think David Grush fits your statement, Russ. I don't. Sorry. I suppose probably is what he's saying. What I was saying about Stephen Greer fits what he thinks about David Grush potentially. I don't know. Sorry, Joe. I'm lost on that one. If you fry it through to me again, we'll come back to it. All right, mate. Got another question for you that's come through. What's Chad on Bob Lazar?
If you guys haven't checked out the documentary, I think it's on Amazon Prime, but S4 is one of the best documentaries. I think one of the best UFO documentaries. But Bob Lazar's story is crazy, okay? But a lot of it adds up, and a lot of it's weird. But I think a lot of it adds up. So I don't know if everything he's saying is true, but like,
he hasn't changed his story since day one.
No,
it stayed the same.
And the element 115. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Paul.
No, you're fine.
I agree with you. I did, but like stuff he said, like element 115, he said in the 80s, and we didn't even discover it yet. And then we discovered it later. It's like it's a real thing. So it's like, and then the thing.
No one put the two together like.
Yeah. Yeah. So Bob Lazar, that's a good question. I think a lot of it adds up with Bob Lazar. I'm not going to tell you, it's completely true, but watch that documentary if you haven't watched that documentary. That's what I'll say.
See, I've seen the documentary, and I did find it fascinating. I say I'll watch anything. People tell me to watch it, I'll watch anything. I just think Bob Lazar's another one of them David Greer. I think he tells you what they allow you to tell. I think he wants you to tell the truth. And if with this, we're talking about someone that had his identity taken away from him when he was at college. They took away his results and did all things like that, didn't they? And they removed him from university, paperwork and things like that. And it's like, well, if you know this much information and they don't want you to tell it, they're going to have you popped off. There's been lesser people not on this planet for lesser things, and then having Stephen Greer and Bob Lazar telling you everything. And I think they're the two. wrongly or rightly, I'm not sitting here and to be
No,
fair,
I know exactly what you're saying.
can
It would be
watch
so
them
easy
both.
for him.
There's a difference though between the two in this way. Stephen Greer's going on every podcast and openly doing things and all these things. Bob Lazar is very reclusive and doesn't like attention. He's only done a few things, and he gets asked a lot to do a lot of things. And that to me also shows a little difference in story character, you know.
I get it, and I do. I have to battle my own brain with them. You know,
Yeah.
I sit there and make my own brain go with them. But there is just something about them. I suppose it's just me being just my conspiracy theorist head on, that if they're telling us that much information and we shouldn't know it, the governments would pop them off, or the governments are really not that worried because they're actually talking the biggest load of crock that we've ever heard in our life.
Yeah.
But that's just how my head fits with them. I can
Yeah.
sit there and watch all of them, and you know, I must admit, was it S4?
S4, yeah, yeah.
I found him different. I found him, but I don't know if it was the way it was produced, as if they produced it within his home to make you more of a trying to adhere to him. And I'm thinking, am I getting sucked into, you know, where everyone's going, oh, look, he's in his home, stroking his pet pony with his wife.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm thinking, if I keep going, letting my head do this, I'm going to get sucked into his story. But that's what I found. I found him more endearing in the S4 project than any other time. I've always thought he's been a little bit, I don't want to say arrogant because it's too much, but he come across as, I don't know the word I'm looking for, if that makes sense. I suppose it's a little bit like that Stephen Greer attitude. I'm telling you, don't believe it, don't like it, I'm not going to say anything else. But in this one, it was very much, you know, because it had obviously George Knapp in it as well, didn't it? And, you know, I've known George Knapp for a long time, and they got them together. I will always talking. Look at the books on the shelf that we've written together. I'm like, okay, I'm getting sucked in now because I'm living in his home with him. And I'm like, get out. I've got to get my head back. You know, I want to be the conspiracy person.
Yeah, I think the director, Luigi Venditelli, I think that's his last name. That's what happened is he met him and he befriended him, and it was a long project where he was like, I want to, you know that you can trust me, and then I want everyone else to see this different side of you, because they've only seen the side that, you know, you were just talking about, because no one's seen like who you are as like a human being. They've just known you as like this UFO whistleblower. So maybe this will be a good way to show people who you are better. But I totally hear what you're saying. You know?
I think it's just because I just think I'm so used to not believing anything I see on the TV anymore, because I don't know where it's coming from and what it's doing. That you go down a rabbit hole with everything. You know, me and Paul have had the same conversation over again. We can't even watch the news anymore, because you watch the news and straight away you're going, I can't watch that because he's telling a load of lies on the telly, and you just turn around and walk away.
I done it last night, shouting at the telly.
Yeah.
This goes back to what you were saying at the beginning of this show about belief and knowing. You know, it's, you can't. You've got to follow your gut. You've got to follow your intuition, and that's what I was going to go somewhere else with that, but it's gone. It's gone past my bedtime now, so my brain's not working properly. So I completely lost where I was going with it.
No, but I agree with what you're saying there. Your intuition is really good. You know, I think it's a good guide a lot of the time, because you can meet someone and you're like,
100%.
Sorry, Simon.
I think we've all seen things, right? And we've all witnessed things, and we've got our own belief and our own knowledge. And to be quite honest, I don't care if people are saying to me, you didn't see this and you didn't get that and you didn't. Go away then. Don't listen to what I'm saying. I know what I see. I know what I get. And, okay.
That's you've just reminded me where I was going, Si. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to go on telly and say I don't mind chatting with friends, but no, I don't want to go.
We've got.
It's not that you don't believe, but it's when I see it with my own eyes.
Exactly.
Then I'll know.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like you say, I don't like using the word believe now because the way you explained the way you don't like the word believe, but I'm going to use it. I might believe in something, doesn't mean it's true or it's right until I see it myself. When we catch evidence on investigations, you can put it out and go, look what we caught, and everyone who watches it goes, well, no, I don't believe it. It's AI. Mm-hmm. You're never going to know unless you. People that say, I'd love to go on a paranormal investigation, go on one then. Don't watch video after video after video. Go on one. And when you see it with your own eyes, you'll then know. You won't believe, you'll know.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, go on.
No,
So I'm just catching up with some of the comments, okay? So Griash is always on the floor of disclosure meetings in Congress, which makes me think he's a still. Sorry?
Shill.
What's a shill? Shill. Whereas Greer is never invited, which makes me think he knows the truth. Fair comment. Evening, Tina. Ben Hardy. Can any of you read these comments? Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
Say Ben.
Yeah, evening, Ben. You got to remember with Facebook and things like that, sometimes we don't see all the comments. So if you have put a comment in there and we haven't seen it, it's just because it hasn't come up on my screen.
Yes, put it again.
I try to read all the comments out as best I can.
I would guess to Joe's comment, I would just say that Grush, Grush, he's a longtime intelligence officer that worked in the Air Force, and now he's actually on Congressman Eric Burleson's staff. So I mean, and his credentials and his background is crazy. Greer was I forgot what kind of doctor he was. Was he he wasn't like a pediatrician or something, was he? He was something, but I mean, he like his credentials compared to, I guess, Grush's credentials and who he was, and the fact that he's a whistleblower and that he lost his pension and lost work and everything, and everything he's been through, his threats. I just think they're totally two different. I guess it's like apples and oranges to me with those two, or night and day, I would say. I hear what he's saying, but if you wanted someone to be working with Congress, emergency room doctor, okay, ER doctor. If you wanted someone working with Congress, I would want someone like David Grush. I wouldn't want someone like if I had to choose, I'd be like, I want someone like David Grush, or like an admiral, or somebody that's coming forward that's like, hey, they've been keeping this from you and I'm ready to talk about it. And then the Pentagon's pissed off, like, why is this guy talking about it? Shut up, and that's who Grush really, to me, seems like who Grush is. So
I think it's just my head. I really genuinely do think my head goes to sort of like, I can't believe anybody. Do you know what I mean? I genuinely can't. And that's me, just how I feel. And it has to feel, I suppose, for me, it's more of the person. Sometimes I feel like their information I can take, I understand it, but it's where it comes from, if that makes sense. With Stephen Greer, I can listen to him. Fair play, just don't like, there's something off with him. Same with Bob Lazar. I found it fascinating when he said about the different cave rooms with the different shaped UFOs, and they wouldn't let you go into the next one, but you could manage to see them further down, but you could see other people working there. My question is, where are them other people? You know, why haven't they come forward? We've got one bloke that is publicly in the domain saying other people were working on these crafts. Where are those people? Because if he's protected, why aren't they protected? Do you know where I'm going with it? Do you know what I mean? I just
Yeah.
find
Yeah.
there's certain people that we are watching, you know, we can watch all over YouTube, you know, we can watch all over the things that are on our domain every, you know, Greer, Lazar, George Knapp, all these, I just feel that they are working for whatever they need to work for to get the truth out there, because it would always come back to, if it ever, I don't know if it could ever, you know, if it ever went to some form of court of arbitration where the governments have lied to us, they'll just say, we haven't lied to you, you just chose not to believe us because we give these people here the truth to tell you. You know, that's how it just makes me feel. And I've said it, I know I shouldn't, but that's just how it makes me feel sometimes with these people.
That's a good point.
One way to look at it is David Grush is losing money, Stephen Greer is making money. Follow the money. Once again, I balancing, you know, playing devil's advocate, there with that comment that show me Grush's bank account. That's what I would say. You know, I know we're never going to see that. It's easy, you know, for me, when people, you know, tell me they're walking down the road and say, oh my God, I ain't got a pot to piss in. So why have you got a cigarette hanging out your mouth? That's the sort of thing. One, we can cry, we can say we haven't got any money, but really, show me his bank account, then I'd make that adjustment. Sorry, I don't mean that in a negative way to Avil.
I think also time will tell too, and hopefully the truth always seems to, I mean, maybe it rise to the surface, and hopefully even next year, I mean, we'll probably get more whistleblowers coming forward pretty soon here too, and maybe they will, you know, corroborate people like Bob Lazar, or people like Grush. We'll see, you know.
I don't know if these instances, the truth will come out though, because I think the longer it goes on, the more confusion it gets. Obviously, you've probably heard about Rendlesham incident, and we live quite close to Rendlesham. But over the years, there's been so many stories, and we've gone down so many rabbit holes trying to investigate that, and we're still finding things now that potentially.
That was 1980, right? 1980,
yeah, and it's still going on now. And fortunately, we don't live far from the forest, so we're probably an hour 20 minutes drive away. But what I'm saying is, more stories come out, and that we tend to think it was one landing, but potentially it could have been 3 landings.
Yeah, it could have been multiple.
Yeah, and it could have also been an aircraft we wouldn't have known about at the time. But then you delve so much into what happened at Rendlesham, and I'm not talking about 1980, I'm talking about First World War. I'm talking about the ground being ruined by mustard gas, so they had to plant the forest. That's how it all come about. So, you know, it's really weird.
That is super weird.
Yeah.
And the fact being is that whatever happens, will we ever get the truth? Because I generally feel that our truth is corrupt beyond where you'll never get it, because they can't backtrack on the things that we've been fed over time. You know, Joe, if you're still in the chat, you know, we talk about the pyramids all the time with myself and Joe. When one block is 80 tons heavy and they can get that with sticks and twigs. No. Come on. You know,
or carve it with copper tools.
That's it.
Like,
you know,
like what? No way, dude.
So if the truth ever comes out, everything that we've ever been taught has got to be wiped off the, you know, it goes back to the, you know, the everything from beginning of time would be questionable. And I don't think it will ever come out. Uh,
I think Mouldy and Scully were the best. You know, the X-Files are there.
Yeah. Can I say something about that though,
Yeah.
real quick? People, a lot of the times we get these words too that we've been taught that mean something else. And I've talked about this on my show before, but the word apocalypse. Okay, when you hear the word apocalypse, everyone thinks it's the end of the world. But if you look up the original Greek meaning of the word apocalypse, it means the uncovering, the lifting of a veil, and disclosure. That's what the apocalypse means. So we've been always taught, oh, the apocalypse is coming. It's the end of the world. But really, it's like, well, why would I fear the uncovering of truth? Why would I fear the lifting of the veil? Unless I was holding something secret I didn't want out, I'd be telling people to be afraid of the apocalypse. But I think we've been taught the apocalypse might be something bad, but really I'm ready for the apocalypse because that just means the uncovering of truth. So
indoctrination once again.
Yeah, exactly, Paul.
Right, I think, guys, that we have come to the end of the show. We've run over anyway, so we could go on all night. We could.
Yeah, you're gonna have to come back on, bro. Sorry, mate.
Thank you. I hope I didn't talk too much.
No. We have got more. We've got chats going on within chats within the chat. Joe, everything, too many, because it would just lead us down a rabbit hole. Keep them comments to the next time we have this chat, Joe and Avil, because it would just take us another long hour show to get through your comments. Okay,
just an hour. No.
Can I before we go, I just want to say thank you to you guys. I'm glad I found you guys. This was cool. Thank you for having me on, and I love the positivity you guys have and the openness you have, and people in the community, and they can grow and learn and investigate things with you guys, and keep doing what you're doing. And thank you for having me on.
I appreciate it.
Come on again,
definitely come on again.
Come on again, yeah.
Come on again.
Yeah, I will. I would love to.
We thank you as well for tuning in to us every week, talking about a load of old crap that sometimes don't make sense. We are a selective few, but no, we appreciate you joining in the chat every week. And as we said, I know that we said it pre-chat as well, like, this isn't about opinions, if that makes sense. We're an open and honest people. We have our opinions in this chat, but they go at the end of it. And I said to you, like, me and Joe have clashed so many times over so many silly things because there is no answers, but we're still good friends, and this is what this show is all about. Me and Joe started this show many years ago, and we clashed over COVID like a banging head together. Okay, but still, 6 years down the line, we're still good friends, and we still talk about our UFO and our paranormal stuff. And that's how this field should be. We should all have an opinion. It doesn't make us wrong, and it doesn't make us right, because we're all trying to get to the same thing together. Disclosure, an awakening, whatever. And that's why we all just go along for the ride, because it's a fun ride to be on, because we live a very exciting up here. Our heads are more exciting than there's a lot of other people out there.
And when I saw a film the other day that somebody recommended, and Alana Morissette is Jesus, I think it's brilliant. That's the one I want to go to.
Dogma, yeah.
Brilliant.
So, Brew, thank you ever so much for joining us this week. Thank you for all our lovely guests. I thank all our lovely listeners and commenters in the chat as well. Really appreciate it. And we'll just end on that one. Debate is essential. But you must always draw a line on it and continue to be friends after the debate.
Of course.
This field can't be proven. I'm sorry, it can't. That's why we're so into it.
One day.
One day. One day. So thank you ever so much, guys. We will hopefully see you all next week. Take care, stay safe, and see you later.